Hi, everyone. Hi, Evan. How are you today?
I'm very well. We have so much going on in the last 10 days of August. It's
Well,
very
this week, the
surprising.
podcast will be 8 hours
I
long
know,
because we have so much ground to cover.
so much
You
going
sent
on.
me this list, and I have my own list. So
Yeah,
forgive me if I keep referring
yeah.
to the
You
list
just
because I don't want to forget the important stuff today. The important stuff today is that August 21st came and went. And the deadline, it was at 2 p.m. on August 21st to register as a candidate, either for mayor or municipal councillor. That's it. It's done. So if you were thinking of running this time around, you're too late. It's over. And we know that there's 4 wards where nobody else signed up except these will be acclamations. So the
no.
current
Well,
sitting councillors are automatically elected.
I have some
Right? Did I
hot
get that?
news. Hot
No?
news
What?
off the
Okay. What have I
press.
done? What have I gotten wrong? Go for it.
I checked the Elections Ottawa website just a half hour ago, and we have two elected councillors, re-elected councillors,
Okay.
Riley Brockington and David Brown. So
Okay.
no, there were
That's it.
no. We thought maybe Isabel Skalski would also join the acclamation club, and we thought that Lane Johnson would also join. But according to the Election Ottawa site, two people
Under the wire?
that came
Did
in
you, or
under the
over the
wire.
transom?
Yeah.
What's the proper expression? Anyway, last
Yes.
minute
Yes.
they just got in.
So
Okay. Oh well.
congratulations, of unofficial congratulations to Riley Brockington
And
in
Dave
Liberal
Brown
Ward and David Brown
in
in
Jock, right?
yeah, in
No,
Jock.
where is
Yeah,
he? Like he's over in not Manitic, but like
yeah.
up that way. All
So
right.
yes,
Well, good
unofficial,
for them. Okay.
unofficial. Okay.
No, no, I
I
know.
mean,
But still, yeah. If nobody else
I
is
hope I'm
running,
not
then
saying something that's totally wrong, but I checked the site,
okay.
so
We'll apologize if we
we'll
do so.
apologize.
So what does that mean then for the race? And I know a lot of people are disappointed, right? Because it's you'd want more candidates, you'd want more debates, you'd want more people participating in the thing. Um, and I have a bit of a different view on that in that and we could talk about the canvases that I went on, and obviously I only went on 2, so this is not representative of the whole city, but I was surprised, very pleasantly surprised by how willing, almost eager to engage people are. You knock on the door, the candidates know, say, "Hello, I'm so and so. I'm running for office. I want to represent you at city council." And people, "Oh, okay." And then they open the door and they start talking about this, that, and the other, and what they see as their priorities, and sometimes to the point of spending 10 minutes on a doorstep, to the point where those candidates, they know, like my campaign manager right now would be like shoving me, like, come on, move on, because you can't spend, if you spend 10, 15, 20 minutes with everyone, then you're never going to get to all the doors in your ward. But those candidates thinking it was important to take the time to have those conversations. And I want to see this, since the pandemic, we've had some issues with like real life conversation, especially with coming back from the pandemic years. And and this is my prediction for in 4 years from now, wishful thinking prediction, that I think that the number of people who register to run for city council is a lagging indicator to regular, everyday, neighbor to neighbor political conversation slash engagement that we're having. I really, really hope I'm right about this. And if I am right about this in 4 years, we should see more people uh, throwing their hat in the ring and running for council. So I'm just throwing this out there. I like to be optimistic and hopeful, and this is what I'm going to hold on to.
I like I'm the type of person who is I don't like to see I don't see myself as cynical as much as I see myself as a realist.
Hmm.
And in municipal elections, when I look at the research, it just says consistently, over 85% of incumbents are
Get
reelected.
reelected. I know.
And
I know. And you're
I think,
probably right. I just want to be hopeful.
yeah, and so that makes it really difficult for somebody to, especially if they do not have a public profile already,
Yeah, that's true.
to give up 6 months to a year of their lives to develop that public profile before they show
Hmm.
up on May 1st to
Hmm.
register, because that's what is necessary
Hmm.
for the ward races to be competitive. And as we will see, I'm fairly confident that very few of the ward races will be competitive. We'll talk about the ones that the
Hmm.
open races usually can be the most
Right.
competitive.
Yes.
But
Hmm.
those with incumbent councillors with no personal scandal attached to them, these people are all going to get reelected.
Hmm.
So when I see all the names, Orleans, so East Cumberland, so Matt Luloff's ward, I see, I think it's 7 candidates in that ward, and I kudos to them and congratulations to them for coming out and challenging a sitting councillor. That's hard to do. It's hard.
Hmm.
It's hard to be successful when you challenge a sitting counselor. Again, somebody without any a lot of baggage attached to them, fairly liked within the community. Um,
Hmm.
they're almost automatically reelected.
Luloff, though, does have the baggage. I think he has
He
this
has,
conviction for drinking. Yeah,
yes, but
drinking and
even
driving.
so, Bridget, even
Hmm.
so, people rationalize that in many ways.
Hmm.
He's paid for his mistake.
Right.
It's been
Do we
adjudicated.
believe in second chances?
Do you believe in second chances? That's
Hmm.
very, if you already like Matt Luloff, and I think he did get 74% in
He
2022.
did get a, yeah, yeah, he
It
got a
was a
good,
huge
uh-huh.
majority.
Right. Hmm.
So just, and this, I'm not casting aspersions on the candidates challenging him. I'm just saying, just from a raw, again, realist perspective and what we understand to be the statistics in these incumbent races in which there's an incumbent, it's really hard to unseat an
Hmm.
incumbent.
Yeah.
That being said, you want to encourage people to run so that we can generate the debate, so we can have the conversations at the door, and that's
Hmm.
kind of the hallmark of a healthy democracy at any level: local, provincial, national.
Hmm. There's one that is one ward, I think, where it's competitive, and that's Canada South. I always get those two mixed up. I'm
Sure.
sorry, people of Canada will hate me because
No, it's
I
Seattle.
always get lost in Canada.
Seattle
It's on
South.
me. I
Yeah,
just, thank you. Erin Cobb. So I went canvassing with her,
great.
and it was interesting to see the reaction to people. I was almost, I know, I keep saying that transit is an issue. Not one single person mentioned it on that one canvas, and I kept willing, like I was trying to send mental waves to people. Please mention transit, so I can be right. Didn't. So this, it is what it is. I also went to Stittsville, which is an open race. I went with Chelsea Walden in Stittsville, which was interesting. Beautiful new neighborhoods too in that part of town, which
Beautiful.
is, it's a great
Yeah.
excuse for me to go and explore parts of the city I don't always go, visit. And then, of course, in Kitchissippi, we have a bit of a, I don't know if I should call it an upset, but there was a note on Facebook, I want to say about 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, that Michel Gros was, for personal reasons, was dropping out. And so we don't have details about that, and I just want to say I hope she's okay. I hope everyone's fine. But she's out, and that kind of means that Joanne Canello's probably going to run with it. I think that's solid enough calculation. And I just want to say something for as a full disclosure that I am sending my voluntelling my 17-year-old to do some canvassing with Joanne. So just to get them used to elections and community work. And so I just want this to be out there because I don't want people to say, well, you're working for this and that. I think that with Joanne's a longtime friend anyway, and I think that given that she's almost sure to win it, I don't think that my teenager is going to be the one making a huge difference. But it's my indirect contribution to Joanne's campaign. Other than that, what do we have? What have
Well,
you been up
I'll
to
make a
this past week?
I'll make a comment on some of the ward races.
All right.
So I think it would be fair, maybe some people will consider it unfair, I, to say that Joanne Canello will, like, there's a high probability that Joanne Canello will be the next councillor for Kitchissippi. I'm just, sometimes you just have to call it. Okay? The race in Canada South. So Canada South and Canada North are quite different. So Canada North, right,
I know.
is
That's
that
why I'm
Canada North.
sorry. I keep missing
Canada
them up.
North is high tech Ottawa. This is what we
Yes.
associate with high tech.
Yes.
That's where I believe the mayor's barbecue was.
Yeah. Yeah. We
So
could talk about that too if you want.
yes, so that's high tech.
Hmm.
Canada South is a whole different vibe,
Yes.
and it's very interesting. I have to say, I've been in the city a number of decades, but I keep getting refascinated by all the neighborhoods. It's like I'm surrounded by a series of smaller cities, each with their own
Hmm.
specific interesting cultures. And so you have a different culture in Canada South. And I was an observer on a canvas, and it will be a competitive campaign. Um, I believe there are four candidates, but I think it's really between Aaron Coffin and Alan Hubley. Alan Hubley, as we all know, is the longest serving member of council, I believe, along with Tim Tierney. And so it'll be interesting to see whether Alan Hubley can hang on.
Hmm.
Um, I'd like to move over to Stittsville now and had a chat with Chelsea. Chelsea. Stittsville has a lot of I think 9 candidates. I think it will be a real. I won't say I don't. I can't. I don't know Stitts. I know Stittsville, but I don't know it politically well enough, and we don't have data. We don't have polling. I will venture to say that it'll be a contest among Chelsea, Tanya Hine, and Teresa Quadri. And I put
Hmm.
Teresa Quadri in the equation because I didn't know this, the spouse of a former counselor for Stittsville.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So I think you're dealing with a team there.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fun.
Chelsea, just based on her background and experience alone,
Hmm.
should have
Including working
working
with Glenn
both
Gower.
for
Hmm.
Lane Johnson, Glenn Gower.
And
So she's
Glenn.
worked for
That's right.
two counselors, and she has worked inside the city of Ottawa. She is an
That's right.
employee of the city of Ottawa. So having had that type of political experience and public service experience,
Hmm.
I think will stand her in good stead. I think
Yeah.
she is a strong candidate for
Yeah,
Stittsville.
there's more to it than that too, because I didn't know that about
Yeah,
her. But listening to her talk to people, I heard that she also used to work supporting women and children fleeing intimate partner violence. So there's a certain empathy
yeah,
that comes out of her
yes.
that I think either it's from her professional
No,
experience
no,
or she's naturally like that. Either way, it's there now. I think you can hear it, you can
yeah,
feel it,
no,
and people feel that when there's someone who shows up and wants to represent you and really seems to care about you, that usually is a it's a good thing for a candidate to have that.
yeah. She has a
So
compelling profile: social work,
yeah.
political political office experience, and now
Mhm.
within the city of Ottawa, called the public service, the civil service. I think that's a compelling profile.
Hmm. So that will be interesting. Do you want to touch on briefly on the mayoral candidates? Because there's one issue, and we don't need to get back into whether or not Neil Saravanamuttu should have or should consolidate or leave or what have you. But the fact that he did not drop out, he is going to be his name, if I understand the rules correctly, will be on the ballot on election day. So even if he decided, okay, that's it, I'm out, and I would urge all my supporters to go vote for Jeff Leaper, say, his name will still be on the ballot. And this means that people will actually, I mean, presuming that some people will vote for him. So this can create issues if the plan was to be a kingmaker for Jeff Leaper. So that's not
Yes,
looking like it's going to be the plan.
exactly.
If I'm reading
I
this
think
right.
I
Yeah.
think you are reading this very accurately.
All right.
So Neil Saravanamuttu did not drop out. He's now locked in on the ballot. His name will
Mhm.
appear on October 26th.
All right. So now he's a spoiler, probably,
Oh,
right? That's probably
well,
what
you know
it
that
makes Jeff Leaper's job harder. Let's put it this way.
it makes Jeff
Hmm.
Leaper's job harder, but we knew that from the time that
Yeah.
Neil entered the race.
Hmm.
But it does make his job, Jeff Leaper's job, much harder. So we don't know if he will be a spoiler or Neil will be a spoiler or a kingmaker or have no impact. He has some impact, obviously. The
Hmm.
spoiler, you have an impact. When you're a spoiler, you're passive. It's your very existence that prevents some other candidate from winning. When you're a kingmaker or a queenmaker, you're active. because you're moving people or you're endorsing another
Mm.
candidate. So at this point, we know that the fact that Neil is staying in will have an impact. We just don't know what kind of impact, and that depends on how close Lawson, Sutcliffe, and Leaper are in early October.
Right.
But,
So I
but
want
there's no
to.
question, Brigitte, the fact that Neil's name is on the ballot has an immediate, will have an effect. Yeah.
Especially for people who don't follow this race as closely as some of us do, weirdos, right? Like, and they show up, they see the name on the ballot, so they say, "Oh, well, he's running. I guess I can vote for him." Right? Speaking of Neil, I saw it the first time. And actually, I didn't see it directly. Somebody sent it to me. People were they noticed on Friday morning a new video from Neil Saravanamuthu that was longer than his usual
Yes.
videos about Gaza. And the question, I mean, the first person who sent this to me was a bit of a what is this doing in my municipal campaign? So, and I encourage people to go and watch the video for themselves because it's such a touchy issue. And I don't want to misrepresent anything, but let's just say that he starts by saying that that's a question that gets asked of him by the people he meets surprisingly often, what his position is on Gaza. And so he goes on in that video to lay out his position on Gaza. So again, I'm not going to try and summarize that. You go and listen to that for yourself. Um, and it's not, and and I don't even want to step into this myself. I don't think it's a very useful thing to do at this point, because I'm on the side of nobody getting killed needlessly. But what is that doing in a municipal campaign? That, and then some other people then sent that to me and said, "What about the opposition to Alto, the high speed train that he also released? I want to say earlier this week, and was there also his position? That's right, Neil's position on data centers, which even I was online saying I sympathize. I agree with them to have a moratorium, or at least." Think about it carefully before we agree to have new data centers. But Doug Ford, the premier, seems gung ho on data centers, and in this country, in this province, municipalities do not have the authority to block something the province wants, or vice versa, because municipalities are creatures of the province. And as we've seen since Doug Ford was able to rip out our speed cameras, if Doug Ford wants something, Neil can't stop it. So, anyways, I had my issues with that. But these are not specifically municipal issues. And some people are like, what is Neil up to? What is the, like, the, people are a little weirded out.
So I'll give you maybe a weird answer to that. Chris Alexander is being criticized in Toronto for talking about foreign policy. So people are wondering why Chris Alexander, a mayoral candidate in
Yeah.
Toronto,
Hmm.
controversial for a number of
Quite
reasons.
a bit,
Yeah,
yes.
but former Canadian diplomat, former Canadian ambassador. Why is he bringing foreign
Also,
policy in?
cabinet minister under Stephen Harper. We should
Sorry,
have that.
cabinet
Yeah. Hmm.
minister,
Hmm.
immigration minister. Why is he bringing that into the Toronto mayoral election? But Toronto is the most multicultural city in North America.
Right.
So people have views on how Canada is responding to the world, a very dangerous world.
Hmm.
So I don't think we can shield municipal candidates from this kind of the international environment. Increasingly, cities are part of kind of branding themselves internationally. They're international actors in their own right. And
Mm.
so I'm surprised that Neil came out with the video. I'm not surprised that he's being asked his views on non-municipal issues, foreign policy, international
No,
policy.
that's fair. Yeah, yeah.
That's fair.
That's a fair thing for sure.
Um, I am surprised that he spent so much time on the video talking about it. So he is putting that on the agenda. Um, it's it's something that he will be confronted with by people who do not agree with his position.
Hmm. Yeah.
So but he's told you, or he said that he's hearing this from people at the doors, and so he's not immune. The candidates aren't immune from taking a position
Hmm.
on international events. Sorry, it's a
I will
long
take him.
answer, but
Yeah,
but
I
it
have
came
a
up
more
in
cynical take on
yeah,
this. that's
Yeah,
less generous than that. So
yeah,
some people may have noticed when the United Nations was in town in New York City not too long ago, that Mayor Zoran Mondani had kind of done a little bit, let's call it
yeah.
virtue signaling, saying Benjamin Netanyahu, the
Right.
Israeli prime minister, who has apparently,
Yes.
there's an arrest
Arrest a
mandate
warrant.
against
Yeah,
him,
yeah.
arrest warrant, sorry, that's the right expression, from the International Criminal Court, which is not enforceable in the United States, but whatever. That if he came to New York, that he would have him arrested because law and order and all of that, and which is complete piffle. To put
Yeah.
That's a technical term,
That's a great term.
because the New York City police does not have the authority to enforce a warrant from the International Criminal Court, certainly not in the United States, where it is not recognized. The authority of the ICC is not recognized by the United States. It was just a whole bunch of virtue signaling of Zoran Mamdani saying, we don't like Benjamin Netanyahu, and like newsflash, very few people like him, and with good reason. But that kind of helped, that whole episode kind of helped Mamdani like have a bit of a gloss on him as someone who would stand up for
Sure.
decency and human
Yeah.
rights and that. And I'm thinking maybe there's some of that going on with Neil Saravanamuthu's video. And I understand that that's not a very generous interpretation of his video,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't fall off my chair if I found out that that was his motivation.
No, I don't. It didn't. I watched the video. It didn't feel like signaling to me. I think
No, okay,
I
all
felt
right.
like, well, I've never
Well,
heard
you know
people.
what? Let's welcome people to send us comments about
Yeah,
this. My email is there's just tell us what you think. Tell us your interpretation because I'm that's my turn to be cynical. Like we
yeah.
take turns being cynical. That's my
Well,
turn now. And speaking of that, so you and I, we kind of passed again like two ships in the night
sure.
last weekend. We went to the mayor's
Okay.
barbecue at the Ridgecraft Recreation Center in Canada North this time. And I showed up a little bit late because I got stuck in traffic on the Queensway coming in from Woke Central here in Westboro, and I got there just a little bit past, a few minutes past 2 p.m. And there was a lot of excitement and enthusiasm at the truck that had the free snow cones. That was still going strong. There were no more hot dogs, so I didn't get a free
Oh,
lunch.
you didn't get.
No, I got there too late for the hot dogs and the hamburgers, but there was still also some action where the people were doing things with balloons and face makeup for the kids. So the kids like like fine, it's a great event for people. It's free food. You show up. There's activities. There was this magician. There's some little rides and things to do, and the weather was gorgeous and it was fine. I did find the energy past 2 p.m. to be a little bit quieter than I was expecting. That could be my own bias. I show up and I don't find Mark Sutcliffe to have like this much like oomph to his events. He seems to be, and he was no longer there by the time I showed up, or certainly I didn't see him. So anyway, so that was my impression, was like a little bit underwhelming, but I guess the hot dogs were good and people went to nap.
Well, I had a great time.
Well, good for
I,
you.
I
What'd you
had a great.
do?
I came. I was late, but still in time for the food. So I got my quota of a cold hot dog, uh, a salad of my choice, a
Was it
drink.
warm or cold?
And that's yes,
A warm salad and a cold hot dog.
it
Oh,
was the cold hot dog that I noticed.
all
But you
right.
know what? I then zipped over to the information session with City of Ottawa officials and emergency personnel, and I
Right,
had
that's right. They have the trucks
yeah,
and the ambulances and the
and
stuff and
and
people.
I,
Yeah, yeah. This is always cool.
as they say, Bridget, I learned shit. And I'm happy that I went over there. I had a long conversation with a special constable, OC Transpo Constable,
Uh-huh.
told me all about his job. And, me, I'm turning into a municipal nerd. I was never a municipal nerd in my life.
What do you mean turning into? I know I thought you were there like a year
And
ago.
I'm just fascinated. I talked to the bylaw officer, and the bylaw officer told me, yes, phone 311 if your neighbor's grass is growing too long. We'll force the neighbor to mow their front lawn. And I talked to the tactical officer, and he presented the Ottawa Police Service's new tactical vehicle.
Hmm.
I talked to the fire. The big revelation, of course, for me, was talking to the fire service. There was, I'm sure they have the women on staff in the fire service. It was just men there, but they were straight out. I'm telling you, Bridget, they were straight out of central casting.
Well,
You
yes,
could,
it's kind of like recruitment too, right?
oh
They're
no,
trying to
no,
get, yeah,
it was like
yeah,
they were
yeah,
just coming off doing bench
yeah.
presses. You know, it was like you could feel that, their chests were full, and you've got, and they were all about 210, 220 pounds, and
Yeah,
they were
and
real specimen.
6% body fat and that
That's
kind of
right.
thing.
They
Yeah,
were
yeah. Good for them.
real good.
Yeah, no, no, it's fun. Yeah.
But the thing that I got out of that discussion, one of my pet peeves was, and we've all seen the scene. Somebody has an unfortunate event. Let's say somebody faints on the street.
Hmm.
And then you see the convergence of the emergency EMS people, the emergency workers, the fire service, and the Ottawa Police Service, all converging. Now you don't, the person maybe fainted in the sun, from heat.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah,
always
heat
wondered,
exhaustion. Hmm.
so maybe not, but we don't know how serious this is. But my question was always, did we have to have the three services
Everyone. Yeah.
converging on what at first looks like an event that would only require one service to
Hmm.
respond to? And then I got the answer, and the answer is logistical. When you phone it in, usually the fire service is closest to the event,
Mm.
so they come out first because
Okay.
there are more fire stations than there are emergency services
And
stations.
there's not that many fires. So
Right.
there they
Yeah.
are,
So there they are,
available.
and they have the training. So I wrote a column about this, and I said, "Bring it on! Next, if I have an event, I want you to send as many.
Everyone.
I want you to send everyone to save me."
Hmm.
So
Well,
I will
nice. It's good
never
that you
again
learn things.
I will never again complain as an
Right.
Ottawa taxpayer when I see the fire engine, the ambulance, and the Ottawa Police Service
I'll
dealing
show
with
up because
showing up
somebody
at the
fainted
same
on the
time.
sidewalk.
Yeah.
All right. That's
So
good to know.
that was my big takeaway. And let me say also, I went into the Richcraft Recreation Center,
Yes.
and I just thrilled. Maybe that's not the
It's a
right word.
beautiful place. Yeah.
It's a
I used to
beautiful
swim. I
place.
used to swim there a lot.
Okay,
And yeah.
people were
Yeah.
swimming there. It looked
Hmm.
clean. I saw the
Hmm.
City of Ottawa employees making sure everything was fine. I
Yeah.
felt good. In fact,
Yes.
I will go further than that. It makes me feel good to see all these outposts, call it the recreational complexes, like these symbols of the City of Ottawa.
And
Yeah,
okay, so let me turn this around because
yeah,
this one is a relatively new one,
yeah,
right? And that's why it's so beautiful and
yeah,
new and
yeah,
gleaming. And this is what we could have, or something closer to that, that we could have in the older ones, like Plant Bath
yeah,
downtown,
yeah,
McNabb downtown, and I'm forgetting a bunch. If we devoted enough of the resources that we need to keep those up to now, of course, it gets old. There's no
yes.
getting
Oh, listen,
around that it gets old. Like we're all
like
getting old,
Bridget, we got
but
to
we're
take
still
care.
working,
Yeah,
right?
we've got to take
Yes,
care of the infrastructure. If you want
that's
to
right.
talk
So that's a good
infrastructure,
reminder. Hmm.
go to all of these City of Ottawa centers and look around
Hmm.
and say, aha, this is what this city is about. And
That's right.
let's take care of the infrastructure.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right then.
yeah.
So we don't have time, unfortunately, this week, but maybe next week we could talk about transit because you went to a transit commission
I did.
meeting with the heads. So
I will
we
say,
don't.
just let me
Yes,
say,
yes, I will let you say.
let
Go.
me say this. I'm also going to be writing a column about him. I'm writing a
Okay.
column. I'm doing a profile of Rick Leary,
Uh-huh.
our general manager for OC Transpo, and I have to say,
Yeah.
I kind of warmed up to the guy. I
Okay.
like the guy,
All
and I don't
right.
even know the guy, and I
Right.
just like the way he presented himself. And you know what? Whether he's a successful general manager or an unsuccessful one, we don't know that yet. OC Transpo's performance in the fall will be an indicator.
Will determine a lot.
Will
Yes.
determine a lot. But I'll tell you, Bridget, um, I think I like the guy. So
Okay.
there you
Then
go.
we look forward to reading your column.
Yeah,
Okay. And we'll talk to you next week. And there'll be lots to talk about next week because there's more
lots to
events
talk about.
and things
Yes.
I'm not telling you just yet. I'm keeping a few secrets, but make sure you tune in next week because we'll have more interesting things to talk about.
All right.
All right.
Enjoy
Have
your.
a great weekend.
Okay, bye bye.
Okay. Bye.